They didn't come into the league top receivers.
But they're here
Cooper didn't
now.
even come into the league a
But
top
they're
receiver.
here now.
Hello, folks. Thank you and welcome back to the No Pro Football Show. I know I've been gone for a while, but I promise you that I'll try to be, I'm definitely going to be more consistent with this. But anyway, today I have my distinguished guest.
We're doing a crossover event. So it's also the She Talks Football
Go ahead.
podcast. So this is Miss Gina of She Talks Football. Same for me. Been gone for a while, but we're ready to get back in it in this off season because y'all, this has been the wildest off season that I can recall for some years. I mean, it's been crazy. And but we've come to talk about one thing, but just one thing tonight. And what is that, Bobby?
State of the Ravens.
The state of those Baltimore Ravens. Because let me tell you, if you are active on Twitter like I am, the Ravens fans, we have been going through it. Once Lamar got knocked out, he got hurt behind that O-line, which we're going to be talking about for the second time, and he's out hurt, so he did not get a chance to finish the rest of the season. And as you guys know, we beat the Bears game barely, and then went on a 6-game losing streak, something that has never happened in the history of the Ravens. I don't think we've ever lost more than like 2 games in a row before, but we went on a 6-game losing streak and missed the playoffs. And the Ravens flock, just everyone went into a tizzy, and it has been rough out there in these Twitter streets. If you're on Twitter, I'm pretty sure it's been the same thing on Facebook, wherever you have been. So we're just going to get in here and talk about these Ravens, because one of the problems is we don't seem to be on the same page as to what we really need in order for this team to be bolstered and to compete in this. The AFC is a bloodbath, y'all. These AFC teams, like, they are really doing it. So it's going to be hardcore getting into the playoffs and getting to the AFC championship. And the Ravens flock, we're not on the same page. We are not on the same page. So that's
I wouldn't necessarily say that we're not on the same page.
We're not on the same page.
No, I'm so this is how I would phrase it. We're looking at the same thing differently. And when I say different, I mean not a different necessarily approach, but to a different degree I think is what we disagree on.
I think it's a different approach.
So my thing, well, I'll let you go ahead because mine has to piggyback yours. So you go ahead and tell the world what do you think needs to happen with the Ravens this offseason?
Well, obviously we need to sign our quarterback, but that's neither here nor there right now. My number one priority for this offseason is the O-line. And also, I would love for him to get another weapon. I am not saying that we do not have holes on defense and we need to fill some more spaces on defense. We're not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we need to fix our O-line, number one, and he needs to get another weapon. Now, for some reason, when we say Lamar needs weapons or another weapon, people go into a tizzy and think that we are disrespecting Mark Andrews, Rashard Bateman, Marquise Brown, Devin Duvernay, and Prochet. I am not disrespecting those dudes. But what I am doing is looking around at the other teams in the AFC, like the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, like Josh Allen and the Bills, like the newly Deshaun Watson and the Browns, like Justin Herbert and the Chargers, and all these, the Raiders, I mean, their GM decided we're going to do some work for real this offseason. And so I see all of these teams bolstering their offensive weapons. And I'm like, I'm looking at the Rams. They had OBJ and they had Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods until Robert Woods got hurt and they brought in OBJ. I'm looking at, I forgot the Bengals, y'all. The Cincinnati Bengals with that basically 3 wide receiver ones for all intents and purposes. And I'm just like, we need multiple weapons. Send us a big body wide receiver. Send us another type of receiver different from what we have. They're most of them are slot receivers. Like, if all these other teams and quarterbacks can have all these number one receivers, why can't Lamar? Why is it just we good with what we got? And I appreciate what we have. I do believe Rashard is going to be a number one wide receiver. But why can't we also have, in addition to what we have, a vet, a proven wide receiver? Like, why can't we? Why is that asking too much?
Well, I don't. That's not quite what you were saying the other day. Like, I felt like the other day you were saying more that we need a premier elite wide receiver. And
Whatever
my
you want to
point
call it.
simply,
I'm taking all of it.
well, my point simply was that we don't have to have, first of all, so if I'm a premier wide receiver, if I'm an elite wide receiver in this league, and the elite ones know who they are, even if they don't say it in public. If I'm a, Hopkins, if I'm a Diggs, if I'm a
Cooper Kupp,
it's a plethora of them. Mm-hmm. Especially now, like we have more great players at one time now than I think we've ever had. But if I'm one of them, I'm sorry, I don't want to play for the Ravens. And it's not that the Ravens are a bad organization. It's not that they have bad players. It's not that I wouldn't think that I could win with the Ravens. But if I'm a number one receiver in this league, a premier elite receiver, I want the ball. And I want the ball a lot. And in the scheme that the Ravens run, I will not get the ball a lot. It's not going to happen.
I don't disagree with that. But
it's
that
totally
was not
the
point happen. That you were making the other day. When we got into an argument the other day.
Wait a minute, let me finish. What I was saying was, yes, get a receiver. It does not have to be an elite number one receiver. It just has to be someone who is, or at least was, and still close to a good, consistent receiver.
Bruh, that is not what you were saying at first.
Veteran, that can teach the guys that we have how to be good and consistent. I did say good. I didn't say great. I'm not saying a great receiver.
That was not the first point that you made. You saying that's not the point. My
first point was I don't think we need. And when I said I don't think we need a receiver, I was talking about an elite receiver.
No, you were saying that we were good with Rashard Bateman and all of them, and we need to give them a chance and let them get the reps. And a lot of these teams, the wide receivers didn't start off like that. They developed. That was your whole initial point, was that they developed the receivers and we need to give them a chance to develop and we can have that. That is what you were saying.
Right. And I followed that up with.
No, you did not. I did. It was after I went in and said, dude, I'm not saying that we don't want them to develop and we don't want them to get reps, but let's add a number one wide receiver now while they are developing. Why? I said that because Lamar, as well as us, we're trying to win the Super Bowl now. We want to win now. This is Lamar's 5th year. We want to win now. And just like all these other teams have all of these weapons, we don't have time right now, given the competition that we are up against in the AFC. Now, please understand, Saints members and friends, as a Ravens fan, I am not afraid of any team in the NFL. So please don't mistake this conversation for fear. I am not afraid. Did you hear me? I said, I am not afraid of any team in this NFL. However, as a football fan, I clearly recognize the weapons and these teams that are being built. And so while we have, yes, Rashad Bateman, number one wide receiver, drafted, Marquise Brown, number one wide receiver, drafted. And Marquise has definitely shown us some stuff. He was 1,000-yard receiver last season. And based off of what I saw from Rashad, I do think that dude is going to kill. But they are still developing. But we're trying to win a Super Bowl now, like right now. So why not have, in addition to Rashad, which I think is going to kill it, because the dude had 600 yards last season and he didn't even play the whole season. In addition to Marquise, we haven't even gotten a chance to see what Duvernay can really do, because he's doing more kick returns and some jet sweeps or something. And if you do that stupid bubble screen out the Marquise when we on the third down, I think I'm gonna just pull my hair out. But the bottom line is all of them are still developing, but we're trying to win now. So while we're trying to win now, send us a number one wide receiver, another weapon in addition to those guys. It's not, well, I'm not trying to subtract them. And your whole argument initially was, we don't need anybody else. Just let them develop, let them do it. And I'm like, nah, because we're trying to win a Super Bowl now. Nobody said to Dak when he had CeeDee Lamb, he had Amari Cooper, but we know Amari Cooper is now on the Browns. And he had what's the other dude's name? CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, and Gallup. And then so he had three top receivers. The Bengals has three top receivers that we know. But here's the thing:
you're calling them top receivers, but they're top receivers because of what they produced the last couple of years. They didn't come into the league top receivers.
But they're here
Cooper didn't
now.
even come into the league a
but
top
they're
receiver.
Here now. We're
Devontae
not playing
Adams
what teams
didn't come into the league a top receiver. And guess what else Devontae Adams and DeAndre Hopkins didn't have?
Right, but we're not playing what teams used to be. We're playing where they are right now.
I get what you're saying.
The Raiders just picked up Allen Robinson, for goodness sake.
Guess what else Devontae Adams and DeAndre Hopkins did not have when they came into the league?
But
an
guess
elite
what?
Receiver above them.
But guess what? The Raiders right now have Devontae Adams and Allen Robinson. Right now they have this. So we're not playing what teams used to be. We're playing what the teams are now. So yes, maybe Cooper Kupp was not that when he came into the league, but Cooper Kupp is Cooper Kupp now. Devontae Adams is Devontae Adams
jump
now.
into what everybody's doing now. You have to do your thing. It's the same thing in life. You have to do your thing at your pace. Just because 5 out of the 12 neighbors on your street got rich from doing whatever, doesn't mean you need to be rich right now to still win.
What?
In other words,
if I have an opportunity to get rich, if I have an opportunity to get rich, if whatever they did to get rich, I can do the same thing to get rich. I'm supposed to be like, nah, I don't want to do what y'all did to get rich. I'm gonna go the long, hard way.
Do what you need to do that's best for you.
Right. Go
and that can make you a winner.
Go trade or sign for a number one wide receiver to add to the thing. That's what I'm saying.
Because then when you do that, when you get these top elite people and it doesn't work, that becomes something way beyond what.
Well, let's try it out. Let's try it out and see if it works first. We can't say it's not going to work. Why would bringing a weapon to the team not work? Are they going to catch the ball? Are they going to run the routes? Are they going to be an additional target for Lamar if the play breaks down? If our O-line gives up, like I'm not seeing the downside in this at all.
Because the salary cap, that's what the downside is.
Teams
if you
can
do this,
whatever they
like
want.
For example, let's take the Rams. Now, two things about the Rams. Number one,
they still signing people.
Everybody think that they did this fantastic thing by getting the people that, number one, they gathered these people over the years. It wasn't all done in one season. Number two, when it comes time for all these contracts to be due and stuff like that, they're done.
They won a Super Bowl.
They are done.
But they won a Super Bowl.
And they're going to be one and done.
But
I don't want Lamar to be one and done.
Lamar doesn't have one yet, but he doesn't have the first one yet. We're trying to get the first one.
And then 9. That's what I want Lamar to be.
He wants to get one now.
Right, but you can't aim for one now. You got to aim for a bunch.
We got to win now.
something. That sounds like the same concept to me as a drug dealer. I'm going to do this so I can get rich now. Forget waiting. Forget going to school. Forget going to college. Forget waiting to get a career. I'm going to get all my money right now, and then you only live 21
But you
years.
know what? But you know what? And I am not in any way promoting being a drug dealer at all. But you know what we all finding out now? Sometimes it does not take going to college to get a degree to become a millionaire or a billionaire. People are skipping college and all of that debt and going right into trades or training and not having that college debt and making money now instead of going to school for 8 to 10 years.
That is still
that's making my point. That's why I brought it up.
At your own pace and doing what you need to do to get where you need to get so you can have longevity.
So what pace are we supposed to go at?
So you can have longevity once you get there.
Lamar wants a Super Bowl now.
See, that's the wrong attitude. I mean, first of all, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that. Everybody wants a Super Bowl now. Everybody, every team in the NFL wants a Super Bowl now. But if you don't do it at your pace, you can end up either not succeeding at all or being a one and done.
So, dude,
there's a much larger chance.
A number one wide receiver. You act like somebody jumping off a cliff because we want to go sign a top receiver to add to what we do have. That's not jumping off a cliff. That's what teams do all the time. That's why the Rams brought in OBJ. That's why the Raiders brought in Allen Robinson. But you still have
other things that you have to do. A number one top wide receiver is going to take almost all of your salary cap. You're not going to have enough money to get the offensive lineman. I'd much rather have a veteran offensive lineman than a top-notch wide receiver.
I started off saying that the number one priority is the offensive line.
I'm just saying. Right. I'd rather, if we're going to have a salary cap hit, at least I know that Lamar is protected the whole year.
Of course.
Rather than having a big salary cap hit or worse, and Lamar don't have protection that he need, but he got somebody really good to throw the ball to.
So look, they know how to manipulate the cap now. So I'm not falling for that okie doke about the cap. We have seen that teams can do whatever they need to do in order to do everybody said the Rams were not going to be able to do anything. Well, the Rams certainly have been signing people and they've been bringing their guys back. And so I'm like, they let Robert Woods go. Let Robert Woods. We don't know that. Well, you know what? I'm going to say yes. You know why? Because I'm still believing the Ravens going to win the Super Bowl. So they're going to have to be one and done for this year because I'm going for us winning the Super Bowl. So everybody else, no, I don't want anybody else winning. So in that aspect,
the Rams got so lucky last season. That they ended up, let me finish. They ended up playing a team that the team's weakness was their strength. That doesn't happen very often.
What you mean?
The Bengals' weakness was the offensive line,
right?
By leaps and bounds. The Rams' strength is the pass rush by leaps and bounds. So that actually matched up together for them. If they had played anybody else that had a decent offensive line, they would have lost that Super Bowl.
Maybe.
Probably by a lot.
Maybe.
So it was a fluke. That's why they're going to be one and done. You're not going to see the Rams in another Super Bowl for probably 20 years.
I don't know about that.
And it's going to hurt them because they went and got all these people, gave up all these draft picks. Their salary cap is probably close to trash right now.
Apparently not.
They paid a couple of people.
They're still making.
I said especially since they paid a couple of people. So
the following years, you pay people their money up front. You pay people their money up front with sign-in bonuses so that they're not a cap hit. All the owner has to do is put that money up so they can get sign-on bonuses and they don't have to hit the cap hard and do some, like all these teams are out here swindling and manipulating the cap and getting stuff done. So after the education that I have received in this past off season, I am no longer falling for the cap okie doke. It's an okie doke. I'm not falling for it.
Probably
the cap
2
is not
years
a myth.
Now.
The cap is the cap, but you can do what you need to do to bring in whoever you want to bring in.
I assure you, probably 2 years from now, the Rams will be trash because of the moves that they made.
Well, we will see.
Because of the moves that they made.
We will see.
Here's the other thing about the Ravens. We keep speaking of, or I keep hearing people speak of, oh, well, this team did this team did that, these other teams did this and that. The Ravens don't do that. They never have done that. And as long as Bisciotti is the owner, they'll probably never do the things that a lot of these other teams are doing. So at the very least of this, people are just building their hopes up for no reason whatsoever. Because they're not going to go get that top guy, and especially not a wide receiver, in free agency. They're just not going to do it. They would probably rather draft one. But at this point, we already have at the very least 4 wide receivers with less than 4 years experience that we don't really know what they could do. Drafting another one is just going to put them right in that same boat along with them. I don't care how big or strong or good they're supposed to be. I believe that Rashad Bateman is one of those dudes. I believe he's going to be.
I do too.
Like a Devontae Adams or DeAndre Hopkins or any of those guys. I think he has the potential to be just as good as those guys. But if you go get another wide receiver that's supposed to be as good, he's going to be sitting in that same train on that same track with them, trying to figure out what they're going to do with him, because none of that is the problem. The problem is how we're using what we have.
Exactly.
It's not even who we have. It's how we're using
right. That's
what we
the main
have.
problem.
First of all, on both sides of the ball, we have not been using people to their strengths.
Correct.
We've been using people to the OC and DC schemes.
Right.
You can't do it like that. If you want to stick with your scheme, then you have to find the players that their skill set works best for your scheme. Now, you can't find good players and then their skill set doesn't work for your scheme, because no matter how good they are, it's just not going to work.
Now, I will say, I'm feeling very hopeful, and maybe I shouldn't be, but I'm feeling very hopeful about our new defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald. Obviously, he is an offspring of Wink, who is now in New York, and I think that's wild that we actually play the Giants next season. So that's going to be fun. Typically, when we've played our old DCs, that has not worked out for us. But
it's not going to this time.
No, I think it will. Mike McDonald, a few things that he said in the pressers that I really liked is, it's not that they won't use cover 0, but he's not going to be sitting up there just blitzing, meaning covers, sending everybody. He's not going to be just sending everybody, which we have to stop that. That does not work to continually do that.
But didn't Wink say that last year? Before the last
but Wink kept on doing it until near the end of the season. Then he kind of pulled up. But for the first half of the season or so, he still kept doing that. And we were getting burnt up. So he said he doesn't believe in just doing that all the time. The other thing that he said that I really, really liked was that he believes in keeping the offense off kilter. Like they should not recognize. So basically, I'm assuming he's talking about disguised defenses. Right. So the offenses are not really going to know what they're looking at. So that was a great thing when he said that. And he also talked about changing up the defenses based on the offenses that we're going against. Exactly. That was also a good thing when I heard him say that. He was like, we have to change things up depending on what offense we're playing. So based off of the things that he said and actually in the presser, I feel very excited about that. He obviously believes in a good pass rush. We're just taking that from what he did over in Michigan. With Ojabo, who, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Ojabo got hurt in his pro day. I think it was an ACL. It was. Wait a minute.
Let's step to the side just for a second. So did you see that video?
Which video?
When he got hurt.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
Did you see how nobody came to his aid?
Yeah.
Some scout literally walked towards him, walked past him, picked up a ball,
right,
and came back.
Yeah, it looked very bad.
I felt
even
like
though
that
they
was
were not the medical
way
personnel,
beyond disrespectful.
Yeah,
way beyond
nothing wrong with just going there and say, help is coming. The medical people are coming.
Something.
Hold on, something. Like you just let him lay on the ground and writhe in pain all by himself while everybody was literally standing there looking at him like a lab rat. Like it did not look good.
You know what it looked like to me? A slave sale. Oh, that one's hurt. Let's move on to the next one. I don't
Well,
want
they
that
didn't
one.
do that though. They didn't just move on. They stayed there, and they did stay there. And
That's because
medical
nobody
came
else
and
was
sent
doing
them.
anything.
No, I'm saying medical came and they stood there. They didn't move on to the next
No,
person.
no,
So
no. I'm
that
talking
part
about the
is true.
scouts and stuff that were there.
Right. They didn't just move on to the next person. They stood there while he was attended to while he was on the ground. So they did not do that. They didn't just move on to the next person.
But I'm
But
saying
I
that's
did
what it
think,
made me think of. I'm
oh,
saying I'm not
right,
saying they
yeah.
did that.
But I thought it was very, very sad how they just stood there looking at him and nobody tried to offer any comfort. I didn't say you don't have to administer medical attention. That's not your thing, but you're human. Somebody is laying on the ground. He was in obvious pain. And it was kind of baffling to me that they literally just stood there
And there
looking
was
at
a
him.
literal crowd of people right there.
Right,
And the
right.
audacity of that one dude to literally walk past
Yeah.
him twice
Right,
to get a football.
right. It was wild. Sometimes people respond like, I want to give them a slight benefit of the doubt, and I'm just saying a slight, not really. But sometimes
AKA
when
you
stuff
about to make
happens,
excuses for him.
no, 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 no. But sometimes when things happen, people kind of freeze and they don't understand how to respond because it's shocking. So I don't know if what they saw, was just so shocking to them that people was like they didn't even know, like, no, I can't even say that. These are scouts. You've been around players all this time. You've been around. I can't
You've
even.
seen it a
I tried,
thousand
but I can't.
times.
I can't. I just can't. I tried, but I
And,
can't.
and you could get shocked and be like, oh, let me go pick the football up and come back. Walk right past him twice.
Right, right, right. I can't. I tried, but I can't.
But anyway, I
can't.
didn't mean to get off track. Go ahead,
Right. That
finish
was
your formal
wild.
point.
But in terms of our DC Mike McDonald, I'm excited. I think what based off of what he said in the presser, it seems like we're going to be, we're going to be changing our offense. We're going to be disguising our offenses, our defenses rather. I mean, changing our defenses, disguising our defenses, and just not blitzing all the time. Prayerfully with the personnel that we're able to get and retain, we'll be able to do it. With just the four as opposed to everybody. Hopefully we'll have some actual pass rush going. It seems like that's very important to him. So I'm saying on that front, based off of who we've picked up so far, we know that the draft is deep defensively. So I know they're going to go in and get some more pieces for the defense. I am expecting the defense to be back in top 5. And actually, that's another good thing he said. When a reporter said, do you expect to be back in the top 5, top 10? And he was like, well, the goal is to be the number 1 defense, right? Not top 5. So it's
Yeah, I
just the
heard that.
things that he said, they were good. We have to wait and see what actually happens. But based off of what he said some good things. So I'm
Yeah,
actually
but to
excited
me,
about the defense.
at this point, coaches are like politicians. I'm not going by what
Well,
they say.
that is true.
Show
But I
me.
mean, we don't know that from him though. But we don't know that. I'm gonna give him benefit of the doubt until I see something differently. I can just go by what he said because he's new.
So let me tell you what I envision. If you're a quarterback on the opposite team, this is my vision that I would love to come true. You're looking at the defense. You see Pierce, probably Matabuke, and Matabuke, and whoever they draft, because I know they're going to draft
Adafe
a quality.
there.
Well, no, not yet. I ain't get to him yet. I'm just doing the defensive lineman right now.
Okay.
So Matabuke, Pierce, Matabuke. sorry, sir. I'm not trying to mess your name up. Matabuke, Pierce, and whatever defensive lineman they draft, because I know they're going to draft one. Mm-hmm. Then you're looking at wow, why did his name? The linebacker's name, I always mess up his first name. The fast one. He's injured right now, but I think
Tyus Bowser.
Tyus Bowser, as the right outside linebacker. Mm-hmm. Bobby Wagner as the right inside linebacker.
Jesus, come on.
Queen as the left inside linebacker, and Owe as the left outside linebacker. Then back in the back,
Bobby Wagner.
Marlon Humphrey, Peterson. They're going to draft one. I know they are.
You mean Marcus Peters?
Yeah, Marcus Peters. Sorry, Marcus. Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey, whichever corner they draft, and Stephon Gilmore.
Oh, Stephon Gilmore. Now you know we picked up the free safety,
And that
Marcus
boy's good.
Williams.
I ain't
Marcus
even get to
Williams.
them yet, but him and I don't know that they're going to do another
So
safety.
you don't think Stephon Gilmore is a stretch dude after all that you was talking about? The Ravens don't do this. The Ravens don't. You think they're gonna go get Stephon
Stephon
Gilmore?
Gilmore is not going to command a lot of money. He is not going to command a lot of money.
I would take him or Xavier Howard if we want to just throw out
Xavier
wishes.
Howard, however, is going to be a lot of money.
I'm saying if we're gonna throw out defensive wishes, yeah, bring me
but
Xavier Howard.
I feel like both of them. I was going to say I feel like Gilmore would fit, but both of them would fit. Both of them would fit. But yeah, either one of them, I would love to have, especially if we don't have Tavon anymore.
Yeah.
And then our fastest corner, he went to
Anthony Averett went to the Raiders.
The Raiders. Wow. So I'm glad we don't play the Raiders this year, but they're going to be a problem in that division.
They should be. If they're not,
that whole division is going to be a problem, actually.
Right. That AFC West, and that's what I'm talking about. So bring us every player advantage, whatever that we can get. So it's not that I'm not saying we can't compete. I obviously believe and know we can compete, but we need more. We need more. I don't want to be keeping up with the Joneses, the other AFC teams. I want to be ahead of them. I want to be ahead of the Joneses. So whatever we need to do to get that, to try to be ahead, I want that. I don't want Lamar to have his cape on every game this season or in the playoffs, particularly. For us to get somewhere, we need to let him relax and just stay in the pocket and just pass the ball. I do not want him to have to play hero ball.
I don't want him to have his PF Flyers on.
No,
I don't mind
not
the cape,
at all.
but not the PF Flyers.
And bringing him another wide receiver, in addition to the talent that we have, is just another easy way that we can take more pressure off of him. And he doesn't have to he can just he needs somebody he can throw that 50-50 ball to. That could turn out to be Rashard for sure. But it doesn't hurt to have somebody else opposite Rashard that he can throw up the 50-50 ball.
I get that. I get what you're saying.
Down.
I definitely get what you're saying. But will you agree that it doesn't have to be a top-notch or a tier one wide receiver?
I mean, if we can get a tier one receiver, let's get the tier one wide receiver. Why would we not?
Right, but the question is,
go down. So
does it have to be?
I mean, it's
a tier one receiver.
It's hardly anybody left anyway. The only people still left out there are OBJ,
DK Metcalf,
Jarvis Landry. Well, DK says that he's willing to stay, so I don't know if that he wants to stay. He's good with being with the team with Drew Lock. That was hilarious to me. So I don't know if maybe if you come at him with the right number, he'll come. But yeah, you got Jarvis Landry, OBJ, and DK Metcalf. I think are what you would call the tier one wide receivers that are left out there. I was hoping we might have, even though he was injured, and I really have been against bringing injured people to the team. I was even willing to consider Robert Woods. I was actually high on Robert Woods, and where he went and signed with the who? I forgot what team he went to. But
I forgot.
He signed. I'm like, so obviously OBJ is coming off his third or fourth ACL, his third or fourth. So I don't know. That's really risky. Since
he's not going to get a lot of money
multiple times.
But
before.
I think between the two, I'd rather have Landry. DK is going to be too much money. Way too much money. He would be one of the ones that I was talking about earlier that is going to hurt your salary cap. Maybe not this year, but the next year or the year after that, when you really need something, but he's eating up a whole bunch of salary cap and probably not willing to take a pay cut or rearrange his contract.
Well, we don't know.
That.
We're trying to read the future.
I'm just saying that's how it happens a lot in the NFL. But I think...
But somebody his size, as fast as he is, like, come on.
I think that we need, whether it's instead of or also, we need another good pass catching tight end.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
We don't have that.
We lost Tomlinson already. He signed to somebody.
He wasn't good.
And Oliver, right. And Josh Oliver
definitely wasn't good.
He didn't do too much. I mean, he wasn't really targeted either.
And it's not
Hayden
that
Hayden Hurst went to the Bengals, yo. He went to the Bengals.
Gonna be a problem.
Hayden Hurst went to the
Well, they needed
Bengals.
somebody because they lost Uzuma.
Yeah, Uzama.
Uzuma.
Yeah, Uzama signed with I forgot.
Um,
So
but
yeah.
but if we get another pass catching tight end, I feel like even if we got that and not the wide receiver that you speak of, it would make up some stuff. I'm not saying
I
it would
don't
make up the whole
disagree. No,
thing.
I don't disagree.
Um,
But isn't that pass catching wide receiver then taking some reps from those wide receivers on our team that you said needs to
you
be
mean is the pass
developed?
catcher tight end taking?
Yeah, tight
No,
end. I
because
mean,
they
yeah.
they throw to the tight ends anyway. Our number one receiver is a tight end, so
Right. But we want that to change. So hopefully with the
it might take
chemistry.
away from Mark Andrews' receptions. I don't think it would take away from the fact of the matter is the Ravens just do not have a whole bunch of plays that go to wide receivers.
Right, but they need to change that. We need to. That's why we need changes at the
Yeah,
OC.
but the OC's not changing.
Yeah, but I'm
And
hoping and praying with T. Martin and Keith Williams that we will see something different. Please.
I get upset with Harbaugh for that, but most coaches, uh, I can't even think of them. Maybe with the exception of Pete Carroll, they let their and maybe
OCs, yeah.
the Chiefs coach. Oh gosh,
Andy Reid.
Andy Reid. Maybe with the exception of those two, they let their OCs do what they do. A lot of them don't jump in.
Well, no, I heard Andy Reid does too. So some Chiefs fan told me.
Yeah, I see him. I feel like I've seen him a few times take over play calling for a game or something from a OC, but majority of the coaches they let their OCs do what they do. It's still to me though, if you see this same thing keep happening over and over again, you probably want to do something about it.
I agree.
That's my thing. You know what I mean? I don't expect it because first of all, Harbaugh can't jump in and call plays because he's not a play caller. He was
I'm assuming
a special
teams.
teams
I don't
coach.
know. Yeah, but I don't know. Like I'm not gonna. I hear people say that even on Twitter. He doesn't know anything because he was just a special teams.
Oh no, I wasn't saying it that way, but he's not like an offensive specialist where, like, there's some head coaches that came from offensive coordinator positions,
right?
So they could probably step in and call the offense. I just don't feel like Harbaugh, as good as a coach he is, I don't feel like he could do that. So he just lets the OC do what he does.
And that's something I actually want to talk about on a future podcast. I want to talk about Harbaugh and his rank amongst other coaches in the league. We're not going to talk about it at all. I'm just going to put it out there. I want to have that discussion on another podcast.
Here's my last thing, though. I guess I'm old school, stuck in my ways, whatever you want to call it.
Sounds like the Ravens organization.
Been watching football for 30 years, 30 something years. I still truly believe, and it was pretty much proven this last Super Bowl. Defenses win Super Bowls. Defenses win Super Bowls. I feel like there's only ever been one team who won a Super Bowl that didn't have, at the very least, a good, if not great, a good defense. And that was the greatest show on turf, the Rams. I can't remember what year that was. Kurt Warner and those guys, they won the Super Bowl pretty much strictly on offense. But defense, if I'm pretty sure, what if we had 53 Super Bowls, 52 Super Bowls? How many? What was the last one? 52?
No, it wasn't the last one. Something like 50. No, because 51 was the Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons. That was 51.
Okay. So whatever the 50 something is of Super Bowls, I would say that at least 50 of those teams had at least a good defense, if not a great one, to win the Super Bowl.
See, in the actual this Super Bowl, if OBJ, this is all speculation, all of it, because we don't know. But I believe if OBJ had not gotten hurt, that the score would not have been close. It would not have even been close. The OBJ was running all over that field at will. At will. If that dude had not gotten hurt,
but what does that tell you?
Between him and Cooper Kupp, They would no. We're not going to do that because their defense came on strong. The Bengals defense is the only reason that they made it through and special teams through those playoff games. It was the defense. It wasn't the offense through those playoff games. But in the Super Bowl, I believe if OBJ had not gotten hurt, that game would not even have been as close as it was, and you would not have needed AD to make that play, that last play. You wouldn't even have needed. It's all speculation. We don't know, but
So
it
if you're
looked like they had a good offensive game plan out there.
so if you're saying that they would, if OBJ was still played that whole game, he would have been running through the Bengals. I feel like that strengthens my point about having a good defense to win a Super Bowl. Because if you have a good defense, nobody's doing that. Somebody might get a playoff every once in a while,
OBJ is OBJ. He's exceptional. That dude is an exceptional route runner. He knows how to get distance. Like, I don't. It's not that would have meant that their defense was not good. Their defense came on strong. But
you know how many exceptional
like
offensive players didn't win Super Bowls because the defense wasn't there?
I mean,
Dan Marino is probably rated as a top at least 15, probably 10.
I think you need it all
quarterback.
To win Super Bowl.
He never won a Super Bowl.
Offense, defense, and special teams. You just need everybody to show up. You need everybody.
Well, that's definitely true. But I'm saying that though, if you don't have, you could, in other words, you can win Super Bowls without having a great offense.
You said you're old school, and then your history.
Wait a minute, hear me out.
You can make your point. I want to make my point.
You can win Super Bowls without having a great offense, but having a great defense. Defense run the ball.
That is changing.
That's been proven that is changing time and time again.
I think that is changing. I think with the offensive weapons, that are out here now in this league, that is a passing league, I think that the times are changing. And I think winning the game the way like the Ravens won their 2012 with a quarterback who was just like, yo, just don't, not 2012, that was Flacco. The 2000, yeah, with like, just don't hurt us. We're going to win the game. Defense. I don't think that's working nowadays. I'm telling you, even today, forget getting to the Super Bowl in the AFC now, this season coming up. If you cannot put 30 plus points on the board, you're not going to make it, baby. You're not going to make it.
But cause
you're not going to be in the Super Bowl.
If you can't stop the other team from putting 35 points up on the board, you're going to lose.
But you can always go back and score again. So it'll come down to who got the ball.
You don't want to come down who got the ball last. That's what I'm saying.
No,
that's why you have to
have. Come back to that.
That's why you have to have a good defense.
Okay, wait, but in the Bills and Chiefs game, the Bills were the number one defense.
But they made a bonehead play at the end of the game. It had nothing to do with their defense being bad. It was the point that whoever called that last play was trifling. That was the stupidest thing ever. They only needed a first down, and you're playing for a touchdown. That was whoever called that play should have gotten some type of trouble. I'm not saying
I think he got fired. I think he did.
He did get fired.
I think the defensive coordinator got. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong.
That was a bonehead play call right there. Like that was just as bonehead as when we played in Miami and they kept trying to do that freaking bubble screen
right
with Hollywood. That's how bonehead that was. So that didn't have enough. If they had played their regular defense, they would have beaten the Chiefs for sure. Defense wins championships. I'm not saying you shouldn't have or strive to have a good offense. I'm not saying that at all. Like you said, you want all of the pieces. But without a defense, you're not winning a championship.
Oh, period. Wait a minute. All right. So it's Leslie Frazier.
Who?
Leslie Frazier was their defensive coordinator. You know, he used to play for us, the Ravens. I don't know that he got all right, let me see. I don't know that he got fired. Maybe it was somebody on that defense. Um, okay, no, I think he's still there. So, but somebody on that defense got fired, and I don't remember who it was. But it looks like I think Leslie Frazier is still the defensive coordinator there.
Well, anyway, folks, that would probably conclude part one. Part one. Yes, I said part one of the state of the Ravens, because I'm pretty sure we're definitely going to continue this conversation, after the draft, or because I think after the draft you're going to see a lot more action in free agency also. So
Oh, we're
with
gonna
the,
talk about this next week again. We'll have some more stuff to talk about.
probably, I hope so.
And we
Um,
haven't even addressed all the issues with the Ravens because we haven't talked about the OC. We talked around it, but
right.
we haven't totally talked
We
about it.
established that he's at fault.
He's definitely a strong factor here. So
Is he
yeah, there are
though?
definitely a few
Is
more
he
things.
though?
Yes,
Is
he
he at
is.
fault,
Though he is, yes.
or
He's
is it
I mean
Harbaugh?
his boss. No, I understand. I was like, we're gonna save that for the podcast.
All righty then. Well, folks, love y'all. Uh, if you like what you see, like it. If you don't like what you see, like it.
Like it anyway.
Exactly. She talks football.
You
Slade
can
knows what
catch
she's
me
talking about.
on Twitter at She Talks Football, and that's with one L. That is not a typo. Is at She Talks Football with one L on Twitter. I am often in Twitter Spaces. I mean, like
All the
practically
time.
every day, I'm in a Twitter space. I'm
All
either
the time.
hosting my own space or I'm in some other space. So you can catch me there. Definitely, you'll be able to watch this podcast on the Undroppables. I am a part of the Undroppables platform. The Undroppables. Make sure you are following the Undroppables on YouTube and on Twitter, and you'll also be able to see this podcast on my own YouTube channel. She Talks Football. And I'm going to be venturing back over to Clubhouse and doing some more spaces over there, and we're actually my draft night I'm going to do actually on Clubhouse too. So definitely you can catch me in all of those places.
All right, and I am Bobby. You can catch me on Twitter at MPF or MP Football, capital N, capital P Football, and on YouTube, No Pro Football Show. Come watch it. You'll love it. Good information, good entertainment. Again, thank you everybody for watching the show, and you have a blessed and wonderful day.
Have a good night. Stay safe and well, everyone.